Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. Today's topic is going to be very simple Reiki. I listened to a gal give a description of Reiki the other day, and she literally twisted herself into a pretzel trying to avoid the word God. And so I thought, that just doesn't make sense. So I decided that I would spend just a few minutes and give the my understanding of Reiki, having been a Reiki master teacher and practitioner for over 20 years and seeing the miraculous results that can come from it. So, the first thing that I want to tell you, and the title today is Reiki Flow and Feeling. The first thing I wanted to cover is its name. The word Rei is from the Japanese kanji alphabet, and it means universal. And the word ki, is life force. So Reiki, universal life force, another word for God. It's everywhere. It's basically as far away as the breath that you breathe, and it is free for every single person. So please remember God's energy, first and foremost. Nothing more complicated than that. How do you get it to flow? How do you bring it inside of you? I tell my Reiki students, I've been teaching Reiki for over 20 years, and I tell them that you learn to pass Reiki through your hands, through your eyes, through your heart, and eventually through every cell in your body, which basically means that you change the energy of a room or a place just by your presence, just by being there. We are integrally creatures of light. And though some of us have light that is very bright, some of us have light that is very dim. And so, how do we get this universal life force to flow from our hands, from our eyes, from our heart, from every cell in our body? The most important thing for you to remember is intent. You have to set your intent every single day. This is not one size fits all. You make one statement that's going to cover you for the rest of your life. Doesn't work that way. Why is intent so important? Intent precedes belief. Belief is what gives us structure to our lives. Belief also gives us limitations. If we believe something with our whole heart and soul, we rarely look for anything else to give it a to give ourselves an ability to expand our paradigm, to expand our belief system. Belief is a little bit like a constrictor. However, intent precedes belief. Intent comes before. Intent is also the magnet that attracts everything you call forth. Absolutely, we are electromagnetic beings. And so intent focuses that attraction to us. It sets the focus for us, it increases the focus. It's kind of like having a lens, but having dust on the lens. What intent does is it clears that lens. It gives us a clearer picture of exactly what we want. Intent is the force, basically, that gets you exactly what you desire. And for the most part, when I first started my journey, I felt so inadequate about being an energy healer that I would say daily, I am a healer and a teacher of God. And then eventually I added the words around the world. And so anytime I make that statement, it's the same. I am a healer and a teacher of God around the world. Because indeed, I do have clientele that comes from around the world. So, intent is something you're going to be working with on a daily basis. Decide exactly what it is that you want, set the intent for that. Now, what are you going to feel? How does explaining Reiki is best by explaining how you might feel or how the client might feel. I do know the feedback that I've gotten maybe years later. It didn't happen as I did it, but I do know that in one case I was at a psychic fair and I was just giving the gal a reading, and for whatever reason I reached over and touched her heart. And years later she told me that as I just touched her heart, it was like electricity went through her, and she just felt and a jolt go through her. And the irony is, so did my brother-in-law. But in his case, he came to our home after he had worked at the cottage in Pennsylvania that is mutually owned by the Jones family and the Minovich family. And he had worked but strained a portion of his back and his hip hurt. So I said, well, I can help you. I can give you Reiki. And he kind of looked at his wife, and his wife said, well, Paul, let's keep an open mind. Anyway, again, years later, I found out that when I touched him on the side, I effectively sent a jolt through his body. He felt it. He didn't flinch. He didn't say anything to me when I did it, but he felt that. So, again, an electrical impulse. This can be a strong shock. It can be a minor shock. It can be very gentle. It can be very, very um, dramatic. The only time I personally have felt an electrical shock is when I knew my guides had come in and were giving me an initiation to upgrade my energy. And it literally, there was one uh, sensation that I had where I felt like the top half of me was being pulled in one direction and the bottom half of me was being pulled in another direction. But the other sensation I had was that I had put my finger into an electrical socket. So, very, very strong feeling. As you are giving Reiki to the person, you can feel sensations on your palm. You can feel them on the top of your hand. If you're scanning the body, you can go top down. And because you're coming top down, you're starting at the upper chakras. And so you will feel the sensation on your palm. But if you start with on the body, you will actually feel the sensations on the top of your palm. And what might you feel? Or as you are giving Reiki to the person, you have your hands on them with permission. course, we always put our hands on somebody only after they give us permission to touch them. You might feel a slight tingle. They might feel a slight tingle. They might feel nothing. The electrical impulses, I've covered those. You might feel a wave of movement through the body. In fact, we have so many flows, and I'll be covering more of them as we go on more with the energy healing. But one of the ways that you might feel is that your hand is just moving in the direction of the flow of their auric field. Typically, if you're right-handed, your flow will be clockwise. If you're left-handed, your flow will be counterclockwise. So you will go in a different direction. But the irony is, your flow is going to be without you guiding your hand. Your hand is going to move by itself. The most dramatic I had was when I was studying cranial sacral work. And when I held the person's head in my hands, all of a sudden the person's head started to move from left to right, very gently, forwards and back, very gently. I did nothing. I just held my hands under her head. Happened to be a female. And so I recognized that this flow was the cranial sacral, which is one of the flows that we have. We have many others, many, many others. So, anyway, that is movement within your body. If those of you who have had Reiki treatments might have experienced something else, gurgling. You might have experienced where your stomach all of a sudden is gurgling. And in one case, one of my clients said, "Is that you or is that me?" She heard it, but she couldn't feel much. It wasn't like a hunger pain. It was absolutely not that. And she wasn't sure. And I knew it wasn't me because I know when my stomach is gurgling. So I said, "Well, it's got to be you." And if you feel a blockage, if you're in the auric field above the person, around the person, if you feel a blockage, what you might feel is pressure in your hand. And in one case, it wasn't pressure. I felt like I had tapped into a bowl of spaghetti. It was like wormy type of movement and just a small type of interesting movements. But it was so intriguing to me. Um, Another thing that you might feel is warm. The irony with feeling warmth is the client may feel warm, you may feel cold as the practitioner. The client may feel cold, you may feel warmth. And I know I can't tell you how many times if I have been at somebody's root chakra and I will sense an imbalance in the root chakra, they feel exactly the opposite of what I'm feeling. They do feel something, but typically it's the opposite of what I'm feeling. You may feel buzzing. just like the bzzz of little bees. And I know in my case, um, I have not felt buzzing so much as I have felt a million prickles on the palm of my hand. And I know then that I am helping them release anger because it's coming out forcefully. It's coming out in such a massive amount of of force that it literally feels like 1,000 needles on my hand. It hurts, but it doesn't last long, fortunately. That's another thing that I just want to reassure you. For any of you who are watching now or will watch later, whenever your guides give you a sensation to help you understand what the other person is feeling, make sure that you tell them 5 to 10 seconds. That's all you want to feel. That's the only length of time you want to feel them. I can't tell you how many people I have run across that say, I can't go into crowds. I can't go shopping. I can't go to football games. I'm an empath. I can't go to department stores. I can't go to grocery stores. I pick up everybody's energy. I'm an empath. I pick up other people's energies all the time, 5 to 10 seconds. That's all I want. That clues me in. This morning I had a session with a gal. I got a tremendous amount of pain on the top of my foot. And again, very short, very short. So when I questioned her about it, it was interesting. Something was going on, but we needed further evaluation of that. And she had too many other questions she wanted to go on with. So we didn't concentrate a whole lot of time on it. But I did tell her that the two words I heard for her was chiropractor, acupuncturist. I felt that her blockage was related to nerve endings and that she could be helped with either chiropractor or acupuncture. Um, this is another type of flow that you might feel jabbing or stabbing because jabbing and stabbing, like jabbing is like, somebody just poking like this. And you can actually feel that sensation when people are yelling at you mercilessly. This is why having being in any kind of environment where you have a vital boss or a vital spouse or mate or friend or somebody that just blows up, whose temper is just so extreme. Um, this is why that's so hard because you will physically feel it. And the jabbing or flowing is something that whenever I get to a person who's been betrayed, that's what I feel. I feel the energy of that betrayal right behind my heart, stab in the back. It's absolutely common. Um, Others might be very gentle, very smooth flow. And then you kind of know you're in balance when you get to that point. When people get off the table, they might feel a lightheadedness. They might feel, especially, I know when I do Metatron's healing on them, a modality that Archangel Metatron gifted me with that I teach my Reiki 2 and Reiki 3 students. I absolutely, um, I can feel it and they can feel it. And you immediately need to um, ground. And by ground, I mean sending your energy from your root chakra down to the center of the earth, having it come back up, crossing it in your heart, sending it to God, where God lives, having it come back down. crossing it in your heart, doing that 3 times. Sign of the infinity, crosses in your heart, up to God, down to the earth. Will get rid of, will help you with the any lightheadedness. Drinking water will help you with that. Immediately walking, just the process of walking on the face of this earth. The sign of the infinity is a circuit, and that completes a flow. At the end of a Reiki session, we always smooth the auric field 3 times, and we do the sign of the infinity on the client 3 times, and to seal in the energy. Uh, I just feel that this is basically what I wanted to share with you today. Uh, who knows what comes in next week, Friday? I'm always surprised by what my guides tell me, by what they want. So, anyway, thank you for watching, and I am so grateful to have you here, and will bring you on board next week. Absolutely do appreciate it. Thank you. And if you do need a meditation book, here it is. My Own Your Power Day by Day is the one of the best ones out there. So please do consider purchasing that. Makes a great gift. Thank you.